Yes, so the hMPV itself stands for human metapneumovirus. Now, actually, it's a very little known virus. People do not really know the name. It's not a household name as such, unlike flu or rhinovirus particularly, or common cold viruses. But it is a really important pathogen. This virus is actually responsible for second only to RSV, responsible for hospitalizations for lower respiratory tract disease in infants under 5. So it's a really important pathogen. It's estimated that globally 600,000 children are hospitalized from this virus each year. Now, like RSV and flu, it is seasonal, so it's mainly over the winter months that we have this virus, and it starts off with common cold symptoms. So it can be stuffy nose, runny nose, and fever. And then when it gets to complications, and in some individuals, it then has a lower respiratory tract infection where we get more pronounced cough and even shortness of breath. And if that can get more severe, then that's when it can cause hospitalizations, and those people need much more intensive care treatment. So it's a really important pathogen, still causing real high amount of disease. It can also affect the elderly in an adverse way as well. So it's the two age extremes that this virus really affects. So it's an important pathogen to have testing for. And at the moment, there really aren't any treatments. So it's important that we really study this virus further. So at hVIVO, we're really keen to expand our human challenge models to make them as relevant as possible to what's currently causing disease in the community, and to have models which our customers want. So RSV has been an established model for a long time, as has HRV, as has influenza. Now we're expanding our respiratory virus model to include hMPV, because there's new products coming through. So we have some clients who have some vaccines they wish to test, as well as some antivirals against this particular pathogen. And currently, there are no licensed treatments for this pathogen. So it's really important to have a way of testing these new potential groundbreaking treatments to see if we can fast track medicines to help the community. So at hVIVO, we're really keen to then meet that customer need and set up a new model to enable them to do that. So developing a new model is what we call end-to-end services, because effectively we're doing the entire process. So normally when we contract for a challenge study, we already have the model up and running, and we already have the challenge virus. When we're conducting a brand new model, such as this hMPV, what it means is we first need to make the challenge virus. Of course, we cannot have a challenge model without the virus to inoculate the subjects with. So the first activity is identifying clinical samples which have the hMPV virus, which we do from our community program. So that's from individuals which are naturally exposed to the virus in the community. They have an upper respiratory tract symptoms. They then send their samples into us, and we use diagnostics tests to work out what pathogen they've been infected with. In this case, the hMPV samples will then go through to screening for our program to then work out which ones could be suitable as a challenge virus. Once we then identified which ones we want to work up as challenge viruses, we optimize the method for growth, and then effectively we're producing a medical grade version of the virus. So we do this under GMP manufacturing conditions, just like vaccines are produced, and then that undergoes very extensive testing to make sure it's safe and has no other pathogens. And once we've done that and realize that it is absolutely safe for human use, we can then move forward to the first clinical stage. And that first clinical stage is what we call a characterization study. Now, this study is really designed at identifying the lowest possible amount of virus to inoculate in our subjects and have a reproducible infection with, of course, excellent safety profile. So once we've done that study, we're then ready to move on to do the testing for our clients. So this will be for a vaccine or an antiviral. By this point, we will know what dose of virus to give, and we can move on to that very important product efficacy testing. So that's what we mean by end-to-end. We first have to do the virus, then the characterization study, and then we move on to the product testing for our clients. We're keen to develop human challenge viruses against as many models as possible at hVIVO to meet our customers' needs. Now, of course, not all pathogens will be suitable for challenge studies. So really the key criteria are in the healthy adults, which we work with, would those healthy adults be expected to recover from the virus naturally? So hMPV is a good example, because in healthy adults, it's a very mild disease, causes common cold-like symptoms, but of course, they would expect it to be completely recover, even though it's a very important pathogen, because in the elderly and in mainly pediatrics and children, it can cause severe disease. but in healthy adults, it does not cause severe disease. So therefore, it's suitable as a Challenge model because it's not eliciting very severe disease. Of course, we can't do challenge models for pathogens which are going to be dangerous to our volunteers. Safety, of course, is always our first priority.